All right, thank you all for being here. I'm Avery Bourne, state representative from Morrisonville, represent the 95th district. I'm joined by Representatives Keith Wheeler and Tom Demmer. Just wanted to quickly react to the announcement that we just saw from the governor's office about taking a piece of help for businesses in the Federal CARES Act, which had broad bipartisan support for COVID relief. And the governor is proposing taking that relief away from businesses. This is just the latest in a trail of proposals by the governor, which small businesses in our area haven't seen a whole lot of relief, right? This is federal CARES relief, COVID relief for businesses that the governor wants to take away in Illinois from the state side. These are businesses that the downstate business interruption grants have not worked for. These are businesses that are pass-through entities that have really struggled to get help through the PUA system here in Illinois. And this is just one more hit. We have businesses contacting us every day asking for more and more relief. And for the governor to decide that the state's bottom line is more important than these businesses' bottom line is something that we're really outraged by. And we obviously don't know all the details. The governor decided to announce this in a press release instead of talking to the legislature. It's probably going to need legislative action. So the governor needs to open a dialogue with the legislature about providing relief for these businesses instead of prioritizing the state's bottom line and taking away this bipartisan piece of relief that Congress decided was a good idea. And now the governor is saying no. But that's not the only thing that he proposed. So Keith Wheeler is here to talk about the Blue Collar Jobs Act, which he was a champion of.
Thank you, Avery. I'm Keith Wheeler, state representative for the 50th districts, covering parts of Kane and Kendall counties. Back in 2019, the General Assembly passed, as a part of the entire budget deal and the capital bill, the Blue Collar Jobs Act. The Blue Collar Jobs Act was designed to incentivize the hiring of high-paying construction workers or high-paid construction workers in order to grow the Illinois economy, to give those families who are supported by the construction industry yet another chance to move forward to benefit their families and support our local economies. Just found today, through apparently a press release, that's being frozen. One of the purposes that we've had as an agreement with the administration is to try and move forward with job creation. And job creation bills like the Blue Collar Jobs Act, which is an innovative approach, first in the country approach to how we can create more jobs, is being frozen. And maybe they're not realizing that the Blue Collar Jobs Act was designed to grow revenue for the state of Illinois as well. It's not a one-sided affair as some other economic incentives are. This is something that's a balanced approach. It benefits the industry, it benefits the companies who are trying to attract to Illinois, but mostly it benefits the construction workers and their families that we're trying to support with this. Again, I just can't understand why we wouldn't move forward with something like that at a time when we're trying to create more jobs. In light of all that's going on in our economy and in today's world, this should be something we should be moving forward on, not backwards on. I'd like to turn over to Tom Demmer, and he can explain other things that are going on.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Demmer, state representative from Dixon. You know, when we think of the state's economy today, we should really be thinking about two things. First, what can we do to support the businesses across Illinois who have been decimated by the impact of the closures and restrictions in place due to the pandemic? And second, what can we do to ensure that as we move beyond the pandemic, Illinois is in a good place to capitalize on the dramatic economic growth that will be taking place in resurgence across the entire United States? Today's announcement from Governor Pritzker flies in the face of both those priorities. First, by depriving businesses in Illinois of relief that was passed in a bipartisan fashion in Washington through the CARES Act. And second, by taking away one of the valuable tools that we have in place to make Illinois more competitive when it comes to new jobs and new investments and new economic growth. When the governor himself signed the bill enacting the Blue Collar Jobs Act, he and Republicans and Democrats around Illinois talked about the fact that it made Illinois more competitive, that it gave us an economic leg up on other states around the country and around the Midwest in adding new jobs and investments in Illinois. That's precisely the kind of tool that we'll need as we emerge from the pandemic and the entire world starts to rebuild the economies that have been so profoundly impacted by these closures. The fact that these announcements have been made by the governor through a press release, and it appears that he is seeking to unilaterally freeze implementation of the Blue Collar Jobs Act. Again, I'll remind you, a bill that passed with bipartisan support that he himself signed that says in statute businesses shall be eligible for these incentives starting on January 1st of 2021. The fact that he's seeking to take this unilateral action, I think, continues a trend that we've seen out of the governor's office of government by the executive branch alone. That's not the right kind of leadership for Illinois. That's why we as legislators are standing here today to say, let's deliver relief to businesses impacted by COVID, and let's deliver a tool to Illinois to help us attract new investments and new jobs as we rebuild coming out of this pandemic.